Drinking with Authors may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nick Savage, author of the West Haven of the Dead series, and tonight's host of Drinking with Authors, sponsored by, as always, Four Horsemen Publications. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Tim Disney, co-author and creator of a wonderful-looking, still not released yet, satirical book called The A.R.C. And after he tells us what he's drinking, I have many, many questions on that, so let's dive right in. Tim, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. What are you drinking tonight?
I have here one of my favorite things, which is a lemon and ginger concoction, which basically I steep some sliced ginger root in warm water, and I get it all infused with the ginger. And then I squeeze in a bunch of lemon juice. And if I'm feeling really flush, I might put some honey in there. Today, I'm just going no sweetener. It's just lemon and ginger. It's very salubrious.
That is wonderful. It sounds almost like a herbal tea, since there's no actual tea leaves in there. But instead of dehydrating it, you're using fresh ginger, which gives it quite the punch, I'm sure.
Yes, it's very pungent.
Very nice. And only because I'm also supposed to tell, I'm drinking a Dubai chocolate latte, sugar-free, of course, with Mateos.
My teenage daughter would go nuts for that.
There's this whole Dubai chocolate craze, at least around our area, and I'm sure it's nationwide. And I'm like, it's just pistachio and chocolate. Like, I love pistachios, I love chocolate, but I'm like, what's the big deal? It's good. It's not like, to me, it's not anything to die for, but it's good. But there's a sugar-free brand of syrup called Mateos that is phenomenal. And they had it to buy chocolate. So we're like, let's try it out. And I got to be honest, mixed with a little bit of soy milk and coffee is spot on.
Excellent.
Yeah. But drinks aside, I was on the website for the A.R.C. And the illustrations right away, the website design itself for a book, having the guys falling out of the spaceship and stuff like that as you scroll, top notch. What can you tell us about the book?
Well, the book came to me, the idea for the book came to me a few years ago during the pandemic when we were all trapped at home. I just had the idea that what if there was a pandemic that really was killing us all, but it wasn't just a random virus from Wuhan. It was a pandemic of lying, of misinformation and dishonesty. And that premise seemed very accurate about the world and fertile for creating a story out of it. And I pitched it to a friend of mine who's a movie producer. I thought of it as a movie idea because I'd made some movies previously. I've never written a book. And he said, great idea. Why don't you do it as a graphic novel? It'll be faster and easier. And I can tell you, it was not fast or easy. But he connected me with my co-author, James Lasek, because I'd never done anything like this before. And I'm super grateful for that connection because James has been a fantastic partner in creating the book. And he is also the creative director of the book. He's sort of basically the producer of the book. He's an experienced person in the business. He knows how to put it together. He brought in the artist who's incredibly talented, Vincent Dubourg, who's a Frenchman who moved to Peru. He lives in the Peruvian Amazon. And I've never spoken with him directly. It's all been done remotely to the Amazon via Google Translate. It's been an amazing experience.
Now, I have to say something about that because Google Translate, forget the search engine, the translate portion of Google has really been able to bring the world together in ways that wouldn't have been available, even with the internet, with everything we have. If you just took away that translate, your project never would have been able to succeed
Yeah.
like that, because you would have had to then hire another interpreter to make it all happen. And Google Translate, from what I was able to see on the site, seemed to have worked perfectly to get the project done.
It's remarkably good, and it's getting integrated into. You can use your Apple Pods now and just walk around and carry on a dialogue with someone with the
And
real-time translation going on directly into your ears. It's quite phenomenal.
so it's like a Babelfish right in your ear for you,
Yeah,
which is
basically.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And as this was your first graphic novel, and
Mhm.
as someone who also, after writing many books and uh, doing some attempts at screenplays, did one graphic novel without the experience of others to back it up, how different is it than you expected?
I've done movies and some animation, which involved a lot of storyboarding. So I just thought of it as storyboarding, and I wrote my parts of it in the form of screenplay format, because that's just how I think about it. And that was pretty useful. If I were to do it again, and I hope to, I would work against specific panels. I would create it with panels, because there was some translating to be done and some back and forth. Send essentially a script to the artist Vincent, and I think you want to give the artist a fair amount of freedom to devise how the panels work. I don't think you want to over prescribe to them uh, how they should be. Um, but I think that I had we done it more strictly in the form of panels and dialogue associated with panels, it would have saved us some time. Um, and so we did it. There was a bunch of redoing I think we could have avoided had we done it that way. But at the same time, I wouldn't change how it went about, because it was a learning experience, and a bunch of happy accidents came out of the back and forth.
Having worked on movies in the past, and I also have some background with that. Did you notice that when writing the script for the ARC, you had to almost confine your dialogue to shorter chunks than you might be able to get
Yes.
away with in movies? It
Yeah.
it makes it, I don't want to say restrictive, but a lot more disciplined to be able to write dialogue that goes in thought bubbles versus being able to spew stuff out like I'm doing at a mile a minute right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's true when you write a screenplay, even for a conventional movie, whatever you write is way too much. It's always too much. It's always about compression and taking things out and putting things across without dialogue. The ultimate is if you can do a scene in a movie where nobody says anything. That's the holy grail.
Yeah,
And so uh, the graphic novel format is even more. You have to be even more disciplined about that.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which I enjoyed. I enjoy that challenge.
The thing about writing books is you're very free to do what you want when you're writing a novel. And I have a buddy who works in Hollywood, and we were working on a pilot, and he said, write the story, no dialogue. Don't write any dialogue. Just write the story from beginning to end, no dialogue, and then go back and put it in. And if I ever get a chance to do a graphic novel again, I think that might be the approach I'm taking.
Yeah, that's great. I have two movie stories about that. One is years ago I met this guy who's long dead now. His name is Sandy McKendrick, famous British director, who spent his final years as a teacher at CalArts, the art school,
Ooh.
teaching screenwriting. And so he made some great movies like The Sweet Smell of Success, starring Alec Guinness and others. And he said movies come in three lengths: too long, way too long, and way, way, way too long. I always love that's a great Hollywood story. So that, and then somebody gave me the original screenplay for The Road Warrior, the first Mad Max movie, not
Yeah.
the bloated ones that came later.
No, no.
70 pages long.
Yeah.
Just you think like if I can keep it under 120, I'm doing well. 70 pages, and it was just action, description of the action, almost no dialogue. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, no, very, very well done screenplay. Same, I heard about Braveheart, where the action scenes were literally just written with "they fight," So it was everything else. And then they let the fight choreographers do these fight scenes that ended up taking up half the movie and stuff, which was great. But to the book, because you are a very accomplished person. A lot of nonprofit work, heads of boards, where with everything that keeps you busy that you do, where do you find the time to do where did you find the time to do the book? I mean, I looked at your bio and you were just impressive.
It was a side project, basically. So the original idea, I had 5 years ago, 4 years ago, a long time ago, whenever the pandemic was. Like, I can't even remember when that was. And so it was something that we worked on in little dribs and drabs between things. And so it gestated more than didn't produce it in one burst. The other thing that happened is that I didn't have any experience doing this. And so I kind of turned it over to James at the beginning. I was like, I don't have to write the whole thing. I'm busy with some other things. And so he did kind of a first draft of the story per se. And then I realized once I saw that, I can't just turn it over to him. I got to be right in the middle of it. And he also said something right at that phase. He said, graphic novels people really love the supplementary material. They want to see some stuff about how the illustrations came together, background information, and that struck a chord with me because I thought that was a way that we could really distinguish this book. And of course, the core idea is a bigger meta social criticism kind of a thing. And so half of the book is a very dense compendium. We call it a compendium of footnotes and footnotes to footnotes. The whole thing is 330 pages long. And a lot of it is this supplementary material that are deep rabbit holes on all kinds of things. Some of it is real, some of it is not real. There are fake ads and fake histories blended in with real material. And that part really suited my super nerdy and played into the range of experiences that I've had and people that I've had encounters with. So I've done a lot of business stuff and other things, and I've met corporate attorneys and tax accountants and consulting people, and I've sat on boards, and you see how those things work. So it gave me, I don't know, a wealth of firsthand experiences that I could draw from to create the layers and layers and layers, because it's one thing to say that there's a lot of lying in the world, but it's worse than that because it's densely interwoven. Like this world that we've created is just truly monstrous. And has its own internal logic. And when you but once you start taking it apart, you see that it's built upon layers and layers and layers and layers of fucked upness. Can I say that on your show?
Yes, okay. You can. I watch my language until other people start to use the language I generally use.
Okay, it's on now then.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want. Because I'm like, I read through the and I'm on your website. If you see the reflection on my glasses change, I love the acronyms because you have the Global Reinvestment for Tomorrow Conference, otherwise known as the GRIFT, with the GRFT, which is just going to pronounce GRIFT, which I think is brilliant. And when you and the other author were coming up with these things, was it kind of a back and forth to go, what can we use to do, or was it like a spontaneous, like I have an idea and it was like, aha, it was there? Like, can you walk us through some of that?
It is a combination. Once we got into the compendium stuff, then it was just game on for as much of that as we could add. So and we put in a few of the fake ads. And it's just begging for this kind of material. Somebody made a comparison. We have a wonderful blurb that compares it to Mad Magazine, and I was like, "Wow, that is a deep compliment."
That is a beautiful compliment. Like And it's funny where different minds go, because as a satire, because it is a humorous book. They compared it to something humorous, and my mind doesn't do that. I was like, man, all these fake ads sounds a lot like I loved Requiem for a Dream, the Darren Aronofsky movie that is absolutely the most depressing movie you will ever see in your life.
Yeah.
But as Ellen Burstyn's follows, whatever the actor's name is who plays like the television like infomercial guy, I'm like, oh, the ads remind me of that, especially, you know what I'm saying? Like just the idea
Yeah.
of that. But far more accurate, I think, would be the Mad Magazine comparison. So it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see
Yeah.
where the minds go.
Or movies like Network, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we were trying to do. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have the experience of watching television, which I don't do that much, but I watch soccer and Crunchyroll. Do you have Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll is Japanese animation.
Okay, no, I've heard
Yeah.
of Crunchyroll before, just never dove into it.
Oh, it's so good, so good. So anyway, I'm a big manga fan. Um, so watching television, just the ads. I'm sitting there with my teenage daughter, and I, I've got to say, everything they're saying here is not true. I always ask her, "What is this all about? What are we watching right now? What are they saying?" And she's like, "Oh, they think we should buy this a motorhome or something," and then we just start deconstructing everything. And I I find this oppressive. Like you go to the supermarket and it's new and improved toothpaste. There's the Crest. It's new and improved. It's not new and improved.
No.
So we're surrounded by this so much. The assault on us is, and it's not a profound thing to say. Like we all know this. Like we live in this world, but I feel like if I don't maintain some outrage, that I will be defeated by this and be completely captured by it.
Oh yeah.
And so I just have to keep saying, no, 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 no. You can't have all of me. I've got to hang on to some shred of individual dignity. And so, with my daughter, I tell her, here are the three rules to survive, rules for surviving in this world. Number one, always throw the first punch. Now I'm being facetious. Number two, money, money, money. And number three, everything is a lie. And if you operate, these are the rules of the world that we live in. But if you want to be a human being, you have to reject all three of this. Because it's trying to induce you into behaving in this manner.
Well, there's definitely truth behind the rules that you say, even if you're being facetious, because like I've been getting hit with ads, and I don't know if it's because I'm mid 40s or whatever, but I've been getting hit with ads for like testosterone pills. And I understand science. My whole family has a background, in science, and there's me who's an author. And so I'm watching these ads for supplements that are just spouting nonsense. And then they got these men that look like they think men should look like, you know what I'm saying, who are overly dehydrated, and you can tell because their veins are sticking out, and just this and this. And I'm just like, this is horrible, because if you don't know any better, you're going to buy into it. Yeah. And nothing they're saying is true. There's no evidence to back it up. And so many things. There was a Rolling Stones song, and what was it? And this is me showing both my age and my ignorance right here with the Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You aren't a man because you don't smoke the same type of cigarettes as me, or whatever that line is in that song right there. It's this sort of deceptive advertisements have been going back for decades, since the invention of ads, and it's part their job, but part the fact that they got rid of the Truth in Advertising Act in the 90s, and so they've been able to just say what they want again. And I'm just like, it's not doing society any good. So I think that if you're looking for a time for a book to come out, graphic novel to come out, now is definitely a time for something that has that sort of message behind it. there is something about the book that I thought was great with the virus. And on the site, obviously I've never read the book, so I'm not saying anything that is a spoiler. But it says it lies dormant with no symptoms, but it's activated by lying. And to me, that's great, because it's the activation of it is then completely within our control.
Exactly. And so I don't think we hide the ball too much in how we describe the book. So is the antidote is coming clean, basically. So at the end of the book, and I don't think it ruins it to say this, we say this in the summary that's on the cover of the book. A handful of survivors figure out what's driving it, and they launch. We get a little glimpse of the post-lie world that they begin to create, and in that way, there's a real strain of hope that runs through the book, because it doesn't have to be like this. In there are a few things that I really look to as inspirations for this book, and this sounds super pompous, but I'm going to say it anyway. But the cruise ship thing was kind of inspired by a great piece of writing by the late David Foster Wallace called "A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again." It was a piece he was commissioned to write for the New Yorker about going on a cruise ship, and it's hilarious. It's a funny piece about the cruise ship experience, but it's a much bigger thing than that.
Yeah.
So that was super inspiring. And also the book, Infinite Jest, which has extensive footnotes in it. If you've ever read that book, I highly recommend that you read that book. It's a big commitment. It's so long. It's so dense. But the way it works with the footnotes was a real inspiration. I thought I'd like to create something like that, where there's all this other information that lies underneath this that you skip to and back. It creates some discontinuity when you're reading, and suddenly you're informed with some new information that casts a different light on all the stuff that you just saw. And all of this, it makes it for a more crazy, chaotic experience that's more like the world that we live in, rather than a very, tightly curated, lead you on a specific path kind of experience.
Which is nice to have that kind of openness. Satire seems to be your cup of tea, a nice wheelhouse for you that you feel comfortable in. Do you know who Dave Barry was?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you because before I knew what satire was, when I was like 12 years old, 10 years old, picking up newspapers, you know what I'm saying, and trying to get into that stuff, because I finally graduated from my Hardy Boys books. Dave Barry was one of the first people I started reading, and it was because I had an older sister who did it. Was he an influence on you directly or indirectly? You know what I'm saying? Someone like those types of, not him specifically, but like those types of like satirists, whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And, and then in our current world, you have people like John Oliver or, the South Park guys, I mean, what national heroes these folks are. So we started our book a long time ago. Biden was the president, and then Trump got elected, and everything has been supercharged by all of that, because and you combine that with social media unconstrained, and just the insane proliferation of AI generated slop material that gets spread over that. And it's like these things they're always present in human affairs and in culture. I mean, you can read, Jonathan Swift is social satire about the pretensions of the ruling class and all of that. But it's existential now. It's not just annoying. It's
No.
life-threatening. And I didn't know how I could write an earnest piece about it, as many people do, and they can do that much better than I do. This seemed like a way that I could do something, that we could do something that might make the meta message more absorbable and
Yes.
fun.
Well, I think when dealing with serious topics, you have to find a way to bring in, no matter how serious the moment is, a bit of levity to the topic that doesn't detract from the topic at hand. And when dealing with a piece that's that much satire, the way it's presented, like the illustration style in your case, brings it a bit of that graphic novel cartooniness without making it Scooby Doo. You know what I'm saying? Without making it something that is going to be so lighthearted and whatever that it can still deal with the serious topic without it being like either detracting too much or just overbearing. And I think that everything I've seen on your site, I'm just impressed. Like, honestly, I'm not someone who gets impressed. And I looked up your site and I was like, damn. I was like, this is something that I'm going to put in a nice pre-order for and enjoy. And you said it's over 300 pages.
Yes, it's 330 pages. Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked when we got the first galley copy back, which was an exhilarating experience because I'd written some screenplays. When you make a movie, you don't really make something that you can hold in your hand, really. You know,
No,
and to just hold it, because I grew up revering books. I'm a lifelong reader, uh, a maniacal reader still. And it's just, oh my God, we made a book. It's a thing,
yeah.
you know, I can hold it in my hand. It was the thrill of a lifetime.
Making a movie is one thing because when it's done, you have the DVD or back in the day, a VHS tape, and it was there and it was in your hand. But you have to have another thing in order to watch it, in order to play it and bring it to life. You have to have a TV and a DVD player and a book. You're done. It's there. It's in your hand, and everything you need is right there. Which then begs the question: you've been involved in the movie industry. You've made movies with Marginal Media,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is now a branch of Imagine Entertainment. Um,
Yeah, no, it's an independent company.
it
Imagine
is still.
Imagine was an early investor in the company like 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah,
Sorry. Then I
that's okay.
misread what was given to me, and I am sorry about
Yeah.
that. I am wrong. Listen to him. Um, do you now, looking back on the movie stuff, would you have rather been an author from the beginning, or do you think you wouldn't be where you were at without, you know what I'm saying, the movie stuff?
Um, no, I mean, making a movie is about as much fun as you can possibly have. All of the stuff around making movies can be fairly miserable. The talking about making movies and all the things, it's very hard to make a movie. A lot has to come together.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of money and a lot of people. And when it doesn't work, it's rough because it just disappears. And I've made some movies like that. And on the set, with all the skilled craftsmen and uh, people, that is just the best. And it's so much fun, and everybody just wants to do good work. And I love that experience. I love working with a team. So I'd like to make another movie someday, and I hope to. I don't think I've ever made a movie that quite did what I wanted it to. I'm proud of all the things that we've done. They all had good things in them. None of them has been quite what I wanted it to be, and maybe it would always be that way. Um, the book experience was different because I did have collaborators, thank God. Um, but it was much more time by myself, which is hard, which is hard, you know.
You have to
And
be your own boss and make sure that you keep moving forward and don't stagnate. Whereas when you have someone over your shoulder, they keep you, you have to be your own motivator, and it's very,
true,
very
very
hard
true.
sometimes.
On the other hand, I was much more in control of the end result. Like I super opinionated about the words, and I got to mess around with the words until I got them just the way that I wanted them to be and all of that. And so whatever is wrong with it is my fault, you know. So I guess.
As was once said, art is never finished, only abandoned, and that's art in any
Yes.
form, whether it's
Yes.
literary or visual.
Yeah.
So if you've never created the movie that you quite needed, and you had a movie friend who you approached about this, and he said turn it into a graphic novel, would you still be wanting to turn the graphic novel into a movie?
That's a fascinating idea. And I think that it could be one. And I'll be curious to see if that becomes a possibility. I think we have to launch it successfully as a book, and we'll see. What was one of the reasons that that was suggested to me, that by doing it in this format, we could explore what the story possibilities were, what things were working, what things were not working, and if it ever becomes a movie, we'll be in a much better position to do it, having explored it this way. I also think that the format that we've created with this, with the extensive footnotes and all of that, could be applied to other topics. There are a whole bunch of characters that exist only in the footnotes, that I personally would like to flesh out. And there's the designer of the cruise ship. There's his whole backstory. His name is Fred Fredrickson, and his arch rival is Pete Peterson. And one is impossibly good and the other one is impossibly bad. And there's a whole story there. And I would love to rabbit hole on that one and develop and explore other dimensions of this layered world of things, of how do things actually work. Like, we start with the idea they're both naval architects, but then tangent outward from there to touch on whole other range of topics like that. I get really excited about that.
That sounds like you have an entire world that would set up not only for a feature-length movie, but spin-off shows and other side stories and other books and a whole franchise that could come from this. Not that I'm putting anything on your shoulders here, just little worms to go in your ear there for you.
I hope it comes to that. I mean, I will see how the audience responds. We got to get. I mean, there's a great comic shop near me, where they. It's all the comics, the high-end graphic novels. It's a really nice place. I go in there and I look at how many titles there are, and they all look so good. And I'm like, oh my God, how are we going to get anybody's attention? There's so much stuff. Yeah.
People, when I do book signings at stores, people will go in and browse. They don't go there. A lot of the people don't go there for one specific book. They're like, this is what I came to buy, but now let me look around. They end up buying like 4 or 5 books in addition to the one they came for. We get found out about unless we have the PR to buy us that table, that sits there with our books on it as they enter the store. People find us because we have the cover artists like you had, who create something that make people want to open the book, because as much as the saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover, people judge the book by its cover.
Yeah, this stuff is all very important, and you gotta have all of it coming together to make it work. Yeah. So I'm learning. I've done some movie things like this, but this is a different world. It's a different set of audiences, and I find what I'm discovering is that the folks who are really dedicated readers, and the graphic novel world in particular, they're very tuned in, tuned into this stuff, and it makes sense to me now that I've been made aware of this, is that the graphic novel readers and buyers of books are really holding up the retail book business, because it doesn't translate as well to reading on your iPad or on a Kindle or something like that. People do that, and you need to make that format, but people want the books, the physical books, because they're things of they're beautiful objects.
They're beautiful objects, and the art itself in a graphic novel just looks better in person than it does on a tablet and stuff.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with you that and you can't do graphic novels as audiobooks, because you're missing 3/4 of the book without the graphics.
Yeah.
You're just getting this odd little, script. Whereas, the physical book and graphic novel readers are pretty hungry. They want something new to read because it's not like comic books where there's 800 issues or whatever. It's here's one or two, maybe three, and the graphic novel's done. You know what I'm saying? And they're on to the next thing. And it creates something, it creates a thing. And I think that a 330 page graphic novel is going to create some waves for you with this. And I'm very excited to see what happens with it when it releases.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to be released at Comic-Con in the summertime, which is July 26th, I believe, is the release date. The publisher is Gungnir Books, which is a fantastic company that was founded a couple of years ago. The main guy there, Matt Medney, is amazing. He's written a bunch of titles himself. A very talented creator. He was at one time the CEO of Heavy Metal Magazine, so he's got a serious cred in this
Yeah.
world, and he's been fantastic to work with. You can pre-order the book at Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, at the Gungnir website, and other purveyors of these things, and then it will be released physically in July.
And where else can we find you on social media if we want to follow you and stuff? Do you have any social medias that you are active on?
We have arcthebook.net is our website, or .com, excuse me. And we are just launching an Instagram site of the same name, at Arc the Book. So that's just getting going right now. So we're just ramping up all this stuff, and we plan to be very active with all of that stuff, and develop a bunch of material there. So those are the best places to follow us.
Nice, thank you. And is there any other promotion, shameless or otherwise, that you want to do right now, or did we cover it all?
No, we covered it all, but a special shout out to my co-author, JC Lasek. He's amazing. And in the Amazon, Vincent Dubourg, the Frenchman.
You say in the Amazon, I'm just imagining this French guy just living in a little hut in the Amazon, drawing away. I'm sure he has a home, but I just
No, he moved from France to Peru because he was, like the rest of us, disillusioned with the discord there.
Yeah.
They have many of the same kind of divides, social divides that we do here. There's immigration fights and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, I'm out. I can do my work remotely, and I'm going to go live in a tranquil place. And so he didn't. He was very happy that the topic of the book wasn't what it was, because it was very much spoke to his own personal life choices.
Yeah.
And so I think he was quite deeply invested in it. So we asked him to provide a little personal statement for the book, and it came in French. And so we put it in French in the book tw, which I appreciated.
Did you translate it to English, or just like,
No, we just left it in French. You got to
that
do
is
that yourself.
wonderful. Feel like if you want to know it, you got to translate it. Before we leave, I always ask if an aspiring author came up to you and asked for one piece of advice, what would that be?
Well, I don't feel qualified to answer that, because I'm 64 years old, and this is my first book. So I guess based on the experience that I just had, the best I can say is just keep going. Just keep going. So I know a bunch of people who are active and successful writers of books and articles and things like that. And all of them have a writing habit that they stick to. Differs from person to person. My friend Charles, who is a journalist, he gets up at 5 in the morning and he writes from 5 to 8 a.m. And he does that every day, no matter what. And then the rest of his day, he does research, he makes phone calls, he does all the stuff that goes around it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mix up his time sitting typing with the other parts of the work. He doesn't stop to check his email. He doesn't do any of that. So I have not been able to impose that kind of self-discipline on myself. I'm scattered. I'm a surger. I'll just suddenly surge for hours, and then, So I don't have a good habit, but I can say that that's what I've observed in other people who are very good at it.
There are many, many authors who lack that sort of 3 hour a day, every day, minus his weekend kind of discipline. It's hard because life sticks in your brain and then trying to concentrate and stuff like that. But 5 is early as well. Like I'm normally starting to stir at about 5:30. So like I'll get out of bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But yeah, 5 is early.
The other one that I've heard a lot of people mention is this 30 minutes little timer, 30 minutes, 10-minute break, 30 minutes, 10-minute break. That makes a lot of sense to me. Haven't done it. Can't say that I've done it. But that makes a lot of sense.
No, I'm like you. I'll surge. I'll sit down. I'm like, I'm going to write. I'll close my office door, which if the fake brick wall wasn't behind me, you'd see it. And I'll write, and 4 hours later or an hour later, how many ever hours later, I'll emerge and I'll be like, oh yeah, I just wrote like, anywhere from like 2,000 to 5,000 words. And I'm just like, hey, it was a good day. And then I'm done. And then I won't touch it for a week because it doesn't hit me to write. And it's hard. And I would love to be more like your friend who can do that.
The other thing about him is that as a journalist, there's no messing around, right? Cool. So he became a world-class typist at a very young age. So I never learned how to type properly. So my typing is messed up. A lot of time wasted with that. So when he's doing the keys, you cannot discern the gap between keystrokes. It's just a constant, it sounds like a helicopter.
And that is fast.
And he can have another conversation while he's doing it. He can look at you and talk to you about something else as his fingers are going. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's impressive. I am not, no. I am typing or I am talking. No way could I do both at the same time.
I type like a T-Rex, like.
Here's a little too. Don't worry. Write another graphic novel, and you'll be using 3 fingers on each hand instead of just 2, and you'll get up there. Well,
I was saying to somebody that the satisfaction of having written a book is diminished by the fact that it's a comic book, it's a picture book, and it's not a novel, but only a little. Only a little. Yeah.
You still did something that most people will never accomplish to the level of completion. You know what I'm saying? And that is something to be proud of and to look at regardless of what happens with it. But I don't see this going nowhere. This looks like something that's going to be, you know what I'm saying, a good project to have created and been behind and a good team to go with it. So I look forward to see where this goes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know you've written books, and I'm going to look you up and find out what you've done. I want to see your graphic novel.
Thank you. If you want to look that up, and I'm not plugging myself, just for your personal information, it's called Coma Noir. And after we're done here, I will give you the information for that, so I'm not taking up your time with my plug. But I do want to thank you for being on the show. You have been a pleasure to speak with and to chat with about the book. When it's out, and if you're in the middle of success and you find the time in a very busy schedule, love to have you back. Just not on release day, because you're going to be at Comic-Con, which I'm jealous of. I would love to go to Comic-Con down in, I'm assuming San Diego Comic-Con is where you're going to be at. Oh, I hate you so much right now. I would love to be there. I'm just jealous. It's jealousy. It's okay. Turning a little green. But no, would love to have you back. And for everyone who's watching and doing this, look him up. Go to arcthebook.net, right? Did I say that right?
Yes. And Amazon.com, pre-order, get a cheaper price.
And yeah, look it up. Follow him. Follow the book. It's some big stuff on the horizon. But thank you all for watching, being here. Thank you, Tim Disney. Thank your agent for booking this for you. She seems wonderful. At least so my coordinating producer says. And remember, everyone, until next time, it costs nothing to be kind. See you then.
Thank you for listening to Drinking with Authors. Join us next time for another fun conversation with an author over drinks.